everyone, this is Caitlin with Kait's Collectibles, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Sailor Mars figure art. So this one was the third in the series for the Sailor Moon figure art line. She is also the third Sailor Soldier to appear, so kind of fitting that they did it in that order. There's a few things I really like about this figure, and there's also a few things I don't, so I'll definitely try and highlight those, but we will start with the box. So the box for Mars, I really like. It continues the very colorful theme that the other boxes have had. Mars's colors really are red and purple, so I was surprised that they didn't use more red on the front of the box. They actually fixated a little bit more on the purple, but when you see it against the image of the figure there with her red fugu, it looks really nice. They also have the sticker there showing that it's an official licensed product. So of course, like always, watch for that sticker when you're looking for one to buy. Make sure that it's there and you know it's not a bootleg. As I mentioned in a previous video, there have been some bootlegs where they've basically done a copy of the whole box and they print the sticker on there. So if you're just looking at the image, it might look like it's got the sticker, but make sure it's not just a black and white print. The other thing that the box will be missing usually if it's a bootleg are the symbols for Tamashii Nations and Bandai that are down in that bottom right corner. So keep an eye out for that. This figure also came from a North American retailer, so it has the choking hazard warning sticker on the front of it that won't come off. So a little bit of a bummer on that, but that is what it is there. So the sides of the box are very similar to the others, where they highlight different poses and different pieces that come with the figure. So for Mars, she has a few different faces and hands. And we'll turn to the back here. They do a nice job, like with the others, sort of showing off her poses, phrase, different faces, different ways you can kind of set her up. Side, so another little pose for Mars here. I like the way they did this side of the box as well with the red and orange, because it does look kind of fiery around her, so that was really nice. And then on the top of the box as well, we have another image of her and sort of the cutout silhouette on the other side. So I'll go over the figure itself before we go over the extra pieces. So the Sailor Mars figure, overall I really like the figure. Like with the others, they did a really nice job with the painting, the detail. Her earrings, for example, are really clear. They have pretty clean lines. The only area where I noticed a little imperfection for mine was sort of down around this shoe. There's a little bit of paint bleeding that's quite hard to see, but it bleeds just a little bit right there. But for the most part, she's really, really well done. She has the same heart-shaped base that the other figures have had, with her name, her symbol, and all in red being her color. They did a pretty good job with the stand itself. The joints on mine anyway are firm, but fairly, I guess, easy to manipulate still. It's easy to get her in a good position. So maybe it's just that I got better stands than what I happen to have for the Sailor Moon one, but she's easier to manipulate. Just kind of showing her some different angles here. So one of the things that was a surprise to me about this figure was that her box was very thick. And I believe it's because of the hair. Because for the Mars figure, I mean, with the others, Mercury didn't have anything that could articulate in her hair. Sailor Moon had the pigtails, but that was kind of it. With Mars, the way her hair is here in the back, you can actually either tuck it in to have it look more like her her regular hair, or because of the flames and the wind that tend to kind of come up around her, you can have her hair spread out so it looks like it's kind of floating. So I thought that was a neat thing for them to include for the figure, sort of a weird way to make hair that would otherwise not articulate actually do something. And so for poses, you know, like this, for example, it looks really cool. But as a result, the box for Sailor Mars, which I'll put back here, is actually quite a bit thicker than the one for Mercury. So just side by side there, you can see the box for Mars is quite a bit thicker. Not that that has any impact on anything in particular, but I do find that for me, for storing the boxes, they're all slightly uneven sizes. So it's just something you have to take into account when you're looking at how you're going to store them. Now for Mars, the extra pieces she comes with are kind of one of my complaints about the figure. I feel like they really sort of dropped the ball in terms of what they could have had included with her. So one of the things I find really frustrating about this packaging for her is that they did sort of what they did for Mercury, in that her extra face plates and hands do have the nice plastic cover, so that it holds them together better. So you can see that we've got sort of her, I guess, kind of yelling expression, a happy expression, sort of an in-between, as well as a number of different hands that you can use for poses for her. But the one thing they didn't include in one of these plastic cases was the ofuda and the hand that holds the ofuda that come with her. So these are really quite small, but I'll try and highlight them because they did a really nice job on the ofuda. They made it very detailed, like it's probably not going to be the easiest thing to see, but the font is actually quite clear. So you can really see it very well. I don't like the hand that comes with it to hold it, because you do have to push it in quite firm to get the fingers to hold it. And you couldn't put this on, like the ofuda on her hand before you put it on the figure. If you did that, I've tried and I just can't get it to go on her hand and keep the ofuda in place. And trying to put it in place afterwards just never seems to work well for me, because then the hand detaches or the figure moves and it sort of falls. So it would have been nice if there had been maybe a hand where it was already built in, as opposed to being a separate piece, although I could see why they wanted it separate. But for me personally, I just find it a little difficult to work with. And the fact that it just sits loose in this top portion of the box, every time you open it, it kind of goes flying. So I find that even when it's closed, they sort of bounce around. So I can't get it to stay in place nicely. The other thing I think they kind of missed out on with this figure was the opportunity to have Phobos and Deimos, the crows, in it. It would have been really nice if they had included them. She also has significantly less pieces, in my opinion, than something like Mercury. So I'm going to show another example here. I mean, both figures have 3 extra face plates. But for Mercury, she has 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of hands, as well as another extra hand for that computer, plus what she has on her right now. Mars has the 4 sets of hands as well, but they just aren't anything that's particularly interesting in terms of hand positions. So it kind of felt like a bit of a repeat, I guess, of hands that have come with other figures. It doesn't feel like there was any creativity put into her figure at all. As well, because the figure's hair is what it is, there's no extra hair pieces for it. So I think the fact that they made the back of the hair articulate was a really neat thing that they did, but it would have been, I think, more interesting if they'd also maybe had a set of bangs for her where the bangs were floating, as we've seen other studios sort of promote as a possibility for figures they were working on. The Sailor Moon S based figures that were supposed to be very much like these that Legend Studios was working on. Those ones were probably maybe more interesting in terms of having Sailor Moon's bangs look like they're floating. Something like that would have been really cool for Mars as well. So the figure itself, I mean, if you're a fan of Sailor Mars or you're trying to collect all of the Senshi for your collection of the Figuarts, obviously I would say you need to have her. I do like the fact that the figure has the articulated hair, some different expressions. I feel like they just kind of lacked creativity in what they could have done for accessories for her, or made something maybe a little bit more interesting. But I am overall quite happy with the figure. Much like Mercury, I got her for a good price. I got her secondhand from someone through Facebook, actually, where they sold me Mars and Mercury for $30 a piece. So less than I was able to get them for on Amazon or any other site, especially when you consider shipping with that. So 30 with the shipping and everything was really good. So I'll probably continue to slowly collect figures from this series. I don't have any others at the moment that I'm filming this video, but I won't necessarily buy them in terms of release order. It was just convenient that I happened to get these 3 in the order that I got them. So if you like this video, if you want to see me review other things, anything Sailor Moon or otherwise, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know, and I'll be happy to do my best. Thanks.